Tomorrow, early voting begins in Connecticut for the November election. It's something we're certainly not used to here in Connecticut. Joining us this morning to talk about voting in the 2024 election is Chris Prue. He is the president of the Registrars of Voters Association of Connecticut. He's also the Democratic registrar for the town of Vernon. Chris, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Glad to have you here. So we're getting ready to do something we're not used to here in Connecticut. Tell us about early voting. I know, it's a land of steady habits. Nobody likes to do anything different, Chris. So many of us are going to have to, or at least start wrapping our heads around it. What's it going to be like? What should we expect?
Yeah, we are excited. Tomorrow is going to kick off early voting for 14 days. Each town has a location that they're going to have set up for early voting. Voters just come in just like they do on election day at their polling places with their IDs. They get checked in, and they'll be issued a ballot and an envelope, and they vote, and they're off on the road again. It's a very quick process, and we worked out a lot of voters' nerves through the last two primaries, so we're excited.
When you have this, and a lot of people have been calling for this for a long time. It's something people who lived in other states say, well, gosh, there I had all this time. In Connecticut, I don't. But logistically, for the registrars, for your colleagues, for the members of your association, was it different planning? What went into making it happen once the decision was made to go forward with this?
Yeah, there was a lot of work that went in. Registrars across the state really stepped up to get a lot of the logistics worked out. We worked with the Secretary of State to secure some funding, equipment and training, and of course public education. That's a huge one, getting people to even know that we're doing this. And hopefully, because we have early voting not just weekdays but also on weekends, that will encompass a lot of voters' ability to come in and vote. So we hope to have covered a lot of it, but it was a ton of work, absolutely.
And we're all excited to see it get going tomorrow. Of course, there's still, some of the old school options. So one of them is absentee ballots. Tell us about what people need to know. Maybe they aren't going to be able to access the early voting. They're not here on election day. So absentee is still an option that's out there. What do we need to know about that, Chris?
Yeah, definitely contact your local town clerk if you have any questions about how to get an absentee, but the town clerk's offices across the state are open to get absentees all the way up until the day before the election. Folks can go in with their IDs again and request an absentee ballot, which will then be counted on election day as usual. We try to have as many options available for voters to be able to cast their ballot as possible.
Now, I told you, nobody in Connecticut likes to change anything. So I'm sure a lot of people are still just going to get up on election day and head down to their local polling place. Anything different we should be expecting there, or that process, if we're one of those people who don't like change, that's going to be kind of what we expect?
Yeah, on election day, it's going to seem very similar to what everybody has seen before. Nothing in polling places really has changed. They're still going to go in and check in, show their IDs, and cast their paper ballots just like years past.
Now, you did say in some towns, 9 towns, I think you said, there are going to be a change in the tabulator. Tell us what people might see. What does that mean, and what might people see in those towns?
Yeah, so there are 9 towns in Connecticut that are piloting the new tabulator that we have received just a few weeks ago. Those voters are still going to be using a paper ballot, just like they have been, and they'll just be feeding it into a new type of voting machine. It works exactly the same as the current voting machines that everybody was used to. It's just the screen will be bigger, but it only counts ovals. It's still just a paper ballot that we have the backup for, and all the security features that everybody is used to are still in place with these machines. It's very much the same. It's just new versions of what we are used to here. So it'll look a little different, but it works the same.
Talk to me a little bit about security with the tabulators and with vote counting. What actually happens? Because there's, you don't have to dig very far down the rabbit hole to see all kinds of conspiracy theories. In reality, with the system we have in Connecticut, give us the facts, Chris. Is there any reason to be concerned that our votes could be manipulated?
I hear those stories too, and it's Connecticut has done a really great job at putting practices in place that eliminate those conspiracies or those potentials for conspiracies or issues. We have checks and balances. That's why we have paper ballots. If there's any question of did this machine count, then you count them by hand with the paper. So voters really should feel confident. Both old and new machines, they do not connect to the outside world. They don't connect to the internet or anything like that. They never have, and even the new machines still don't. They're programmed locally with a computer that does not connect to the internet, and we are, very secure with connections in Connecticut. I can't speak for other states, but I know that voters here should absolutely feel confident with the security that's in place.
So any allegations that Putin is hacking into the Vernon voting machines are dispelled. That's what you're telling us, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
Just tell us as we get ready for a presidential cycle. I know, having done this for a long time, this is going to be a busy one, right? And I always say to people, I think some of those local elections probably have more impact on their lives, who's on the school board and the zoning board and the first selectman. But people get amped up for these presidential elections, and do you expect a bigger turnout? What are you telling as guidance for the registrars in your association?
Yeah, with every presidential election, we have record turnouts, and it seems to grow with every election. I am expecting, at least a 70 to 80% turnout for voters, where with the local elections it's less than 50%. So you want to make sure that if you are able, get there. Get there early. I mean, every vote, even if you're in line at 8 o'clock at the end of the night, you will still have the opportunity to vote. Everybody that's in line by 8 o'clock. It's gonna be a busy time. We have ramped up our employees so that we can eliminate the long lines at the polls, and even during early voting, there should be no long lines. We are doing everything we can to eliminate that and have people be able to come in, do what they need to do, and be able to move on in a timely fashion.
Chris, we appreciate it. Before I let you go, we're all out of time, but early voting, what are the hours? I don't think I asked you that, and people might want to know because it starts tomorrow.
Yeah, so early voting's tomorrow, October 21st, all the way through November 3rd. We do have the hours are 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., except for the October 29th and 31st, where it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So the last Tuesday and Thursday, we have extended hours from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Otherwise, every day, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
All right, Chris Prue, the president of the Registrars of Voters Association of Connecticut and the Vernon Democratic Registrar. Thank you so much. So much good information. Hopefully people will get out to vote. The state has a website packed with information all about voting. If you'd like to learn more, go to myvote.ct.gov.